Ohayou gozaimasu. How are you all doing today? Today's video is just going to be kind of a simple one where I talk about my work, or rather what I won't talk about my work, or I guess set a little bit of expectations regarding my job. I guess to go into a little bit more. I had a bit of a crazy day at work today. To kind of preface or preface or however you say that word, I don't really know the actual pronunciation for it. Anyway, so I do have a lot of employees or people, or I do have a lot of staffing. Normally, I'm not going to disclose the numbers, but I have quite a bit, at least in double digits. And the amount of people that we might have going through where I work can be a low number, but it could also be something in the triple digits. Well, today particularly, we had, when I came in the morning, we had a power outage that fortunately didn't last that long, but due to the high volume and the fact that they needed electricity to be able to kind of do whatever, unscheduled, just a sudden power outage that just happened, and people were kind of freaking out a little bit. I had to go around and kind of just explain everything. It's like, don't worry about it. We're gonna get it worked out as soon as possible. Then we had something newly implemented that it was our first time, so it was our first real crash course, and it wasn't that bad in retrospect, but it definitely could have been a little bit smoother. But we had just that bit of craziness going on. Then in the afternoon, I don't know exactly how this happened, but we had a fire alarm. And when fire alarms happen, as you know, most places have a fire escape plan, and everybody has to go out and leave as soon as possible. Here we go. I get all my stuff outside, and there's a lot of customers who kind of just want to stay put. I'm like, you gotta go outside. There might be an actual fire here. They'll just stay here. I get you got something you're going on, but this is a little bit more important. I'd rather you be outside and be alive than inside potentially dead the next moment. It ended up not being anything serious, but it lasted for about half an hour or so. So anyway, just a crazy day with stuff that doesn't normally happen. But I guess kind of the point of that is I also want to set a little bit of expectations as far as to what I'm going to talk about regarding my job, because I don't want to disclose very much, but I do work in an office setting. This is what I have to typically wear at work on a given day. I'm a firm believer of work-life balance, in that you have your work life and your personal life, and that's kind of what I want to do with this channel. I don't want to delve too much into it. That said, anybody who really knows me knows that I'm a workaholic and that's something that I'm actively working on right now, to try to keep that balance a little bit more maintained. And it's a character trait of mine that I'm working on, that I'm trying to be a little bit more trusting of other people, and learning how to have other people do stuff so that I don't have to always be there and try to do that myself. I mean, this is something that people mostly go through. I'm a salary employee, so I get paid a set amount of hours regardless of how many hours I work. But as you're kind of climbing that corporate ladder, so to speak, the higher you get, typically you have different level responsibilities, obviously. And you have people that work under you. Being in a typical corporate job, or winter months or whatever, we gotta wear this. But in the summer, we can wear Karyushi wear. This is kind of the official summer uniform of Okinawa in place of a suit, because Okinawa is really hot for about 8 months of the year or so. So this is designated official uniform for Okinawa, which is nice. Having the change for that little transition actually kind of had me thinking about what I was talking about, because I was drawing a blank and just sitting there for a little while. But I guess one of the things I was trying to do to help make myself as a work-life balance, I'm sure most of you that are currently here watch Kit and Matt's videos. There were a fair amount of videos where they were just wearing whatever, but I was just going around dressed up and kind of looking to myself, thinking about it in retrospect. Going around, when I'm not at work, I shouldn't be dressed up as though I'm going to work. It's just kind of like a work job or a regular job where if you have a uniform, you don't wear that uniform outside of work. All the clothes that I wear to my job are my own clothes, so I have the freedom of wearing them outside of work. But I realize that it's like a psychological effect where I'm still kind of into that work mentality where I just think about it, even if I'm not actively thinking about it. Just the fact that I'm dressed as though I'm going to go to work kind of still puts me into that. I don't know if that really makes a whole lot of sense, but you kind of just get stuck into that mentality, and I have a little bit of trouble listening to my own words. Case in point, Kit, Matt, and I and another friend went to a beach one night, and we just decided to do a random campfire. And while we're building the campfire, I was venting about work a little bit, and Kit, speaking softly when she says this, of course, as she's carrying a big stick and pointing it at me, and she says, "You need to learn how to follow your own advice." And so I try to follow that advice a little bit more, at least for myself. myself nowadays. So that way I'm kind of do really get to that point of truly establishing more of a separation, at least, of my work life, my personal. It's always a work in progress. You know, we always have to grow and improve and evolve, of course, but sometimes it's one of those things that you don't really see about yourself, somebody else can see very clearly, and you become deluded to that, I guess. So it's nice to always have people that talk with you about it anyway. That's all I have for today's video. I will see you guys tomorrow. ありがとうございました。また明日。